Perhaps you've heard this in the past. After an auto accident, you need to get an attorney to represent you, but maybe you've asked yourself why. Well, today we're going to answer that why with an attorney from Catania and Catania. Joining me now is Joe Catania. Welcome back to the show. How are you, Joe?
Great. Thanks for having me again.
So auto accidents, I mean, it just seems like such an issue, and you always hear you got to have an attorney, got to have an attorney. Why?
Most people, at least I hope, don't deal with auto accidents too often in their life.
True.
So when it first happens, it's a question of what do I do? And you start worrying about the damage to your car. How am I getting home? How am I going to pay for this? And what people don't always think about is how they feel physically. Now, there's certainly times where you have a significant injury from a significant accident, and it's obvious that you need to go to the hospital, you need to go get treatment, you need to get yourself taken care of. But it's also very common from what I hear with a lot of clients who don't call us right after the accident, but call a week later, 2 weeks later, and I'll ask, well, have you seen a doctor? Have you gotten any treatment? And they'll say, no, I didn't think I needed it. By that time, you've lost, potentially, depending on how long the gap in time is, you've lost your rights to your personal injury protection, or your PIP benefits that you're entitled to, which essentially covers the first $10,000 of your medical expenses if you're in an accident. I'd much rather have someone go get checked out by a doctor and be told that they're fine than them be their own doctor, say that they're fine, and then days later, and hopefully it's just days later, not weeks and months later, realize that these injuries are lingering and now they don't know where to turn.
And you were talking about the deadlines when it comes to medical treatment. What about calling you? When should someone pick up the phone and call an attorney after an accident? I
don't think it's ever, well, I don't want to say it's never too soon. I think obviously you need to take care of any immediate things with you or your family. If you're needing to be rushed to the hospital, or family members needing to be rushed to the hospital, you could probably handle that first. But when the initial dust settles down, I think it's important to reach out to an attorney, preferably the same day as your accident, and just talk about what happened. And you can find out what next steps you should take, because most of the attorneys in our office deal with those types of phone calls every day. It can kind of guide you as to what you should be doing, what you should do while you're at the accident scene, what you should be doing in the next following days, and then making sure that you get your treatment again is the most important thing, because the sooner the better. What
if someone is involved in an accident and think that they've got a good relationship with the person that either hit them or they hit, and they're like, oh, you know what, negotiation's going to be easy, I'm not going to worry, I don't want to have attorney fees on top of that. Negotiation, is that something that you shouldn't go at alone?
Sure. So it's all friendly until money gets involved sometimes, I think. And trying to negotiate isn't just with another person, but also a lot of times with their insurance companies. And those insurance companies aren't always looking out for your best interest. And that's not to say that they're, bad at what they do or bad as a policy, but they have their own interest in mind too. And so I think it's important to have someone who is on the phone and dealing with those insurance companies and knows the value of your case, and someone who is not, an expert in that field or doesn't work in that territory, really doesn't know where to begin with the negotiations.
Oof, that's definitely good reminders to keep. And also, say the progress ends up going to trial, to have an attorney on your side, that's going to be really important if you step foot into a courtroom.
Sure. So the trial stage is always the last stage, and in a perfect world, you're able to find an agreement or a settlement that everyone can live with and take care of the bills. But sometimes it's a necessity. And it's good, at Catania, we have attorneys who are all trial ready and able to go. So if that's where your case ends up, we're certainly happy to, stand with you through that process.
I'm definitely willing to help out. Well, if you're interested in more information and want to get a hold of someone like Joe, any member of his team, well, don't forget there's a free legal consultation that you can get. And just be sure to call the phone number on your screen and catania.com.